Hey YouTube, this is Prometheus, guys, giving you more than the meta. So guys, I want to show you some gameplay of a new defense that I'm rolling with online. It is the dime defense. One of the reasons I do like the dime defense is that it allows me the ability to go ahead and run man blitzes, zone drop, and also a lot of match coverages that I've been experimenting for the last few months or so as I get familiar with it. Now, I'm going to be playing against okay players, actually players that are not the best. At least early, they had a really hard time with this because of the defensive scheme that was running. This guy takes a shot up top against a match defense. I'm able to go and pick him off with a quick play. And what I like about me using this dime package is that it shows my opponent the same look, and because it's a base look, you usually don't have a lot of position or people out of position. You'll see on another gameplay where I ran into somebody that was running offenses that were kind of outside of position, but what I like about this defensive scheme is that I can show my opponent a bunch of different types of looks, and it's very difficult for them to make reads. So right here, actually, my opponent gets a nice little underneath route, gets past a couple of my tacklers, and is able to go ahead and pick up a chunk of yards. But the previous series, he gave up that touchdown, or actually that throw, where I intercepted him. Now, what I do like about this dime scheme is that I can throw in cover 3 shells, I can throw in cover 4 shells and stuff like that. So that's what's fun about this year's game. So right here, my opponent once again goes with a verticals play, and right here he throws the ball up top, and he's able to go and complete it. Samuels actually doesn't get over the top of the coverage, and as a result, he takes it in for a touchdown. So on the next series, I ended up having to kick the ball back to him. And I just felt like, basically 3 plays didn't really show me anything that I was really too concerned about. So I'm going to go ahead and stay with this cover 4 shell. He's just running basic verticals. He takes a shot up top, and right here Samuel's able to go and make a play against it. He doesn't get over the top of it. That could have been another ugly situation. So what I was learning running this defensive scheme is that you got to make sure that you're playing over the top coverage, especially if you got a guy that likes to lob the ball up. You have to go ahead and make sure you're covering. So because he's taking multiple shots up top, I decided to go ahead and hit him with basically man zone right there, just a cover 2 man with an extra safety to help, and I get a nice little block shot. It froze his reads, and as a result, I'm able to go ahead and get a turnover and pick up another 3 points. So second down situation, opponents once again at it again. Now he goes in a bunch. So he got away from the spread formation, goes in a bunch, and what I do is I jump into a cover 3 shell and flip the shell because this guy just keeps trying to push the ball vertically, and I've got a cover 3 out there. And Samuels Jr. is able to go ahead and get over the top of him. This guy couldn't come back to the ball if his life depended on it, and as a result, I'm able to go ahead and get the ball down to the red zone in this type of situation. And my opponent's frustrated. Not a very good player, so he actually checks out, and then we're going to take this over to another gameplay where I'm switching up my team a little bit. So I'm switch up to basically the Cardinals, and I'm running on offense West Coast, but I wanted to show you that I switched over to this playbook, which is going to be the Cleveland Browns. And the reason why I switched over to the Cleveland Browns is that it has 2 different dime options on defense. So it allows me to have more flexibility. Once again, I'm going to base the line, play wide receiver, option conservative on that, and then I'm going to have match coverage. So match is the most important thing. Now, when I'm setting up this defense, basically I want to have set up about 4 different audibles. I had to go ahead and set up my assignments in that type of situation. So basically what I was going to do is just jump into a play, hope he doesn't no huddle me, and kind of go from there. So with this, I like to use the rush defense as my primary defense, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and swap out the play right here with Buzz Seams. I want to have seam plays. He actually picks another play here. I've got cover 2, and then I'm going to go and switch it out for the dime blitz 2, just because it's got matching principles that I can jump into. Base play I'm going to call is going to be that double safety blitz, and because he's got a quad set where he's got 4 wide receivers off the edge, I decide to go ahead and jump into man coverage. That's one of the cool things about this defense. I'm going to keep showing my opponent the same look, double safeties coming down, and then I'm going to go ahead and jump into other coverages, giving my opponent basically no way to tell the defense. So I'm going to basically show my opponent the same type of a look, get those safeties down in the box to kind of intimidate the run, but also never give my opponent any kind of a tell what he's looking at. So he's going back again with the quad set. I'd go ahead and use her this backside defender because I know that there's really no pass responsibility out there with one single wide receiver, and he actually freezes up. He doesn't know where to go with it. So huddles the ball right here. Back to this quad set. This is not necessarily the best defense to use against a quad set because those defenders are completely out of position. He finds the gap with a slant route right there with the 3 wide receiver, and as a result, he actually picks the first down. So, you don't run into a lot of quad sets, but those are things that can mess up people's defenses if they're not running strictly man coverage. And that's an adjustment you'll see me making a little bit later on. So right here, I'm still kind of adjusting my defense to try to set up on what I want to do. He's actually just kind of in a standard trip set right here. Once again, I dropped into different types of coverages, and he runs the ball. So nice little run right there. I didn't shoot the gap correctly. One of the things I've noticed with the dime defense is that the rush defense, they don't get into the gaps. So I might potentially need to go ahead and switch into a normal set because I think you're going to have better gap integrity and you'll be able to go and move the guys back and forth. Now he jumps into I-form wing. So he's going with a heavy set. In this type of situation, if a guy's running really heavy sets against you, you don't put yourself in a disadvantage because he's going with 2 running backs. He's also going to have 2 tight ends. That's going to give you a blocking advantage. So your best bet is to jump out of that, go into a heavier set. And the defense I was using, which is going to be the Cleveland Browns, you can use a 43 defense and still have the safeties come down to the box and intimidate your opponent. So right here he goes ahead and spreads it out. Going with the spread coverage, I'm going to go ahead and jump into cover 4. And does a read option. This is one of the reasons why I always put my settings on the quarterback for the option. I don't want to give my opponent ever think that they can get away with a play like that. I'm going to go ahead and force them to make some reads. So right here I come out to a heavy blitz. I got manned up guys. You can see the pressure comes off. He makes his read pretty slow. As a result, I get him into a 3rd and 13 situation. And just waiting basically for his next play that he's actually going to go and pick up here. He jumps into gun empty base flex. So gun empty base flex. Basically, I've got to make sure I match up correctly. Go ahead and take a peek. I decided to go into Robert's defense, just going to throw him off a little bit. Pressure comes down, locks up, and Sims is able to go ahead and get myself a nice little interception. So what's just cool about this particular scheme is that you can jump into match coverage, to zone coverage, into drop coverage, just to mess your opponent up. So that's what's cool about it. So back to the double safeties blitz, just waiting for his defense, or whatever he's going to set up with as far as his offense. Now he goes into a pistol full house. So in this type of situation, you don't have a huge threat on the outside, except for those 2 wide receivers. You got everybody inside the box. You might want to jump into a 43 defense just to get better run fits. But here what I did is I'm going to go ahead and put some curl flats out there and try to take some routes away. He does, basically kind of a mixed up running play right there. He picks up about 4 yards. Most players online are too impatient to go ahead and grind the ball out. You get 4 yards at a time. They're usually looking for 6 or 7 yards when they run the ball. So right here, I go ahead in the quad set again. It gets my guys off aligned, and basically he doesn't know where to go with the ball. He actually gives it up. So I think he's trying to run with his quarterback. I think that's what his take was. I'm going to go ahead and run with the quarterback if my opponents are lining up. And as a result, because I've got contains, I'm able to go and stop them. So 3rd and 8 situation. Now I jump into a double buzz. The only thing I don't like about the Cleveland playbook, you don't have the typical dollar defense that you can use against your opponent. But right here, I figured he's using all crossing routes, so I'm going to put a double buzz out here, user this middle safety. I'll pinch up my line and make him force to make a play. He throws into one of my buzzes, and as a result, I'm able to go ahead and get another interception against him. So back on offense again, going ahead, showing this double blitz look, crunching up the line this time to make sure he can't throw the ball. He actually drops it down to a little wheel route, and that's fine. If he's going to give up the little wheels, that's fine. Back to the double buzz. I go into cover 4 match. Right there, dropped interception. That could have been interception right there, but he gets a lucky animation on just that should have been interception based on how quickly badly he threw the ball. Now I jump into cover 4 again. See how I can jump to different types of coverages to kind of keep my opponent guessing. He jumps into a screen. I misread it, but I'm able to go ahead and just only give up 4 yards in the screen where he actually basically had everybody out there. Now he goes back to empty base. I get a little bit cute. I probably should have stick with the dime defense opposed to jumping into this, but I figured that he wasn't really making the best reads, and right here he takes off this quarterback. So he's probably trying to set me up the entire time with taking off this quarterback, and as a result he's able to go ahead and get a nice little a run right there and a first down. So back at it again. He's got the quad set. I'm able to go ahead and tackle him for some a loss or a few yards right there. So he's trying to get himself into field goal territory. Now I jump into cover 4. He's just doing an empty set with the hope that I can go ahead and get across with him, and he takes off this quarterback. So this guy didn't really have really good reads. It looks like he was just trying to wait for the defensive breakdown. It was a really smart thing. He actually rolls the clock down and goes ahead and tries to just kick the field goal. He still had a timeout, so he had a couple shots in the end zone, so I don't know why he chose to do that. He probably should have basically took a shot into the end zone at once, at least to make the game a little bit more reasonable. So I'm up 17-3 in this type of situation. He goes back to the Bristol Strong this time. So I'm just going to go and close up my line. I'm going to basically force him to go and not throw it in. Use a cover 4 coverage against him. And then I'm going to use a QB contain to go and stop his scrambling quarterback, which essentially has been throughout the entire time. Does a little split play right there. He's actually picked up some pretty good yards. I don't really have the best stout defensive line. I've got a good player in Watt. It's not like you've got block shedders up there, so you're likely to get that type of situation. But this is probably the better situation to go with. He actually does a jet sweep, catches my guys off, and actually gets a nice little some yardage right there. Now I think of what it is, I adjust, and I go with man alignments against him. So he's showing me slot. I figure I'm going to go with man alignments and user my safety, because this guy has not taken a shot up top. And is right here. I'm actually go ahead and got some pretty good run fits, but I still give up 5 yards, and that's not a win on defense. You want to try to keep your opponent down at least 3 yards during rushing situations. Don't give up that many yards. So gun normal Y off flex. I'm going to go ahead and switch back to default and come out of the safety double blitz, and then I'm going to go and switch things up. And I think this is where I jumped into cover 2 match, if I believe so. And because of the matching principles of cover 2, it just messes people up. He didn't know what to do with it. This guy didn't have any reads after the snap. I think he's just trying to take off with it. And because the cover 2 match messed up his mesh spot, I don't think he hit it correctly. Back to gun empty quads again. This time I'm going to go ahead and get out of that and go into man alignment. And I'm just going to stick with basically the dime package. I'm going to go and user this middle safety, because this guy has not taken a shot up top. I've got basically an underneath route with the spot route, and then essentially everybody's locked up. Everybody's underneath the routes and following. He didn't have any reads, and as a result, I'm able to go and pick up a 4th and 12. So this guy was really struggling with making adjustments, but I think it's because I was able to go ahead and disguise my coverage. He had a hard time too. So right here, basically I'm going with an aggressive blitz. I probably should have used a blitzer off the opposite side where the three wide receiver side is at with bunting, but you can see the pressure comes in, and I get a nice animation right there to go knock that ball out. And as a result, my opponent quits out. He realizes this game's over because it was milk and cookie times for him. So once again, guys, thank you for your support. I'll be posting probably some more of this stuff as far as this defensive scheme. You'll see some more gameplay with me using it. So thank you for your support, guys. Until next time.